Hello and welcome to Normal to Formal Podcast, episode number 32. My name is Tia Young, and I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette, and I'm your host. The topic for today's podcast is the Unspoken Social Etiquette Rules in the United States. Unspoken rules. What does that mean? We have our good manners and etiquette, but sometimes there's rules that we might not really know. But if you break them, you will know. People will feel uncomfortable around you. So I'm going to share some of those things. I did see an article by Jen Adams from BuzzFeed, and I really enjoyed it. So I want to share a few of those examples with you. And it's from the perspective of the U.S. compared to other countries. Sometimes we have unspoken rules that other countries do not. And as a former international flight attendant for 14 years, I've seen a lot of things in other countries that were weird to me that aren't weird here in the United States. So it's vice versa. So I'm going to share some of those rules and let me know if you think they're weird or not. The first one, it is generally frowned upon to stare at strangers or make too much eye contact with someone you barely know. Well, I definitely agree with that. Sometimes people stare, or it looks like they're staring and they're not. They might be looking past you. Every now and then somebody will be waving at someone behind you and you wave back and it's really not you. Same thing can happen when they're looking past you. They're really not looking at you. They're looking at something past you or behind you. So it can be a mistake if that happens. Sometimes you see somebody you think you might know also, and you're staring, trying to figure out, is that Sally that I went to high school with? And you're staring at them and it's not that person. Or if you see something you like about someone, like their outfit, their hair, shoes, whatever it may be, and you're staring, but not in a negative way. But we do have to be very careful when we're staring at or looking at someone too long. So more than a few seconds, and you might want to look away so they won't think you're staring at them. All right, so that was the first one. The second one, it is extremely rude to comment on somebody's weight. Ooh, yes. I always joke. My husband doesn't even know what my actual weight is. When I weigh in, he's nowhere around in the bathroom, on the bathroom scale. So he doesn't know. He tells me what his weight is. But for me, for some reason, it's not a big deal. I tell him the range of where I am, but I don't tell him the actual amount of my weight. I do say, well, I want to try to lose 10 pounds. Now that the new year is here, I'm making those resolutions of eating healthy and exercising more. And actually, I've lost in the last maybe 5-6 weeks about 7 pounds. So about a pound a week, which is a good average to have. So I've been trying to eat healthy and exercise more and eat and just move more. And then watch that junk. I do like the salty snacks, like the potato chips and anything with salt on them. And I love sweets also, but not as much as the salty snacks. So just being aware of the fast food, the Chick-fil-A French fries and the chicken nuggets, things like that. So weight, never ask a woman her weight. Unless you're your trainer at the gym, something like that. And then you have to share, because you have to know where you start in order to know how you're progressing and getting better. But the inches sometimes tell all also. But yes, I do agree with that one. It is extremely rude to comment on someone's weight. When someone loses a lot of weight and look great, don't say, "Oh, girl, you lost a lot of weight," or it's better to just say, "You look amazing. I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it." Because when you mention the word weight, it kind of makes them think, well, was I really that big before? In your eyes, they were, but don't say that to them. Just say, "You look amazing." And then they'll know what they've been doing to get to look amazing in your eyes. The next one, snapping your fingers at a waiter to ask for the check is a big no-no. I do agree with that. That is the U.S. rule. Some countries might not think it's a bad thing to do, but snapping your fingers at anyone is disrespectful. It's almost like they're a servant or lower than you, inferior in some way. What you want to do instead is try to get eye contact. If you're at a restaurant, you're ready for the check, try to get eye contact with them and then mouth the word bill, please, or something like that. Or maybe put one finger up and say the bill, please. And they'll understand to bring the bill. Because most times at restaurants, they won't bring the bill until you ask for it. At the more higher end restaurants, they seem like they will offend you by saying, okay, we're ready for you to go. Now, some more casual restaurants, they just bring it automatically. In a nicer restaurant, they will not bring it until you ask for it. But you want to do it in a way that's respectful to the wait staff. I'm sure they're used to it, but you still want to show that respect. So I definitely agree with that one. On the airplane, as a flight attendant, I didn't like when a passenger would snap their fingers at me. It was very disrespectful and rude. Just kind of wait till I'm passing by and then just say, then ask me a question instead of snapping your fingers and then wanting that service. So I understand the disrespect and snapping the fingers. All right, here we go. The next one. In public settings, Americans are big on personal space. That is true. We don't want anyone in our personal space. Well, now with COVID, we have to be a little bit further apart, not to spread germs, because we don't know sometimes if we are positive with COVID. We want to keep those masks on. We want to keep our hands washed. So making sure you have that space around you. Now, some things you do, going to get, for instance, going to get a manicure for me or get my nails done, my hair done, anything like that. You're going to be in close proximity, but keep that mask on when you're that close to someone when you get the service done. But personal space, otherwise, give people their space. Another one, Americans place a bigger importance on lines than some other countries do. Therefore, cutting the line is considered very rude. Yes, it is. It depends on where you are and how long you've been waiting too. Nowadays, just trying to go get a COVID shot or the booster shot and somebody cuts in line and you've been in line for 5 hours. I'm kind of exaggerating, but sometimes not. People have been in line for a long time to get the kits or to get the shot or the booster. So you cut in front of them when you're standing in line or in your car. Oh no, we don't want to do that. That is very, very rude. Now, if you're at Disney World, you don't want anybody to cut in line. When you're waiting in line for a concert, you don't want anyone to cut in line. Do not cut in line. And it's also very rude when you're holding the line for somebody. Now I'm waiting here and then you're going to let 2 or 3 people get in front of you and you're in front of me. So that's very disrespectful as well. You need to go back there with them and not let them come 2 hours late and then get in front of you. Very, very rude. So remember that also. The next one is, most of the time you can't haggle for prices and you can't ask the cashier to take off tax. Definitely not here in the United States. When I travel to other countries, especially when I went to Hong Kong and you go shopping, and I got an outfit made for me. Beautiful, beautiful dress, Oriental type dress. And it was made to fit me perfectly. It doesn't fit anymore. That was years ago. But you can haggle the price of the fabric or the items that you're buying. And my friend that I was with, my friend Jewel, she was a flight attendant there based in Hong Kong. And she said, because I feel bad when I asked to cut the price. So she said, no, they're used to it. So I asked to cut the price like half. And she got really, really mad at me, the store clerk. So, but she, I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I was getting ready to walk out the door. She said, okay, I'll give it to you. So she wanted to make that sale, but I would never do that here in the United States. We don't do that unless you're at a place that allows it. You can't go to a department store and ask for a half price unless it's on the clearance rack or the sale rack. So yes, that is true here in the United States. Do not. And then tax, we don't control, we have to pay the tax. So we never can take that off. All right, here we go. It is generally considered taboo to mention politics to someone you don't know well. I agree with that. I guess in other countries, it's not taboo to do that. But whenever you talk about politics, especially with people you don't know, it more than likely will cause an argument because you have different views, different opinions on who you think is better, the person or the party, whatever it may be. If you don't know them, you don't know how they might answer. Heated arguments. Stay away from politics, especially if you don't know the person. I agree. Next, we have Americans may invite you somewhere, but it's generally agreed upon that you should not show up somewhere unexpectedly. That's right. Especially if someone's planning a big event that costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. Weddings, especially, you cannot just show up and you have not been invited. Any kind of parties. Sometimes they say it's okay to bring a plus one. You could bring one more person with you. But more than likely, if that invitation is mailed or there's an evite and there's nothing that says you can invite someone else with you, then don't. And when it comes to just stopping by someone's home unannounced, some people don't mind. I do. I want to make sure my house is neat and clean, that I'm presentable, that I look like I'm not just getting out of bed. Because sometimes I just want to relax at home and watch TV and snuggle up because it's the wintertime and it's cold. So when I get home, a lot of times I don't want to go back outside. And for somebody to pop by, I feel like I have to entertain, give them something to eat, give them something to drink, look presentable, put on some clothes, comb my hair. So I always prefer a call the day or two before, not the day of, because I might not want company that day. With my mom and dad, I'll call 5-10 minutes before because they don't mind, but I do. So it depends on the person. But generally in the United States, most times you have to let people know and not just show up at an event or at someone's home unexpectedly. Next, we have, it is rude to ask how much money someone makes or how old someone is. Absolutely. And I can't believe where it's not rude to do that. I think even if you're dating and starting to date someone, it is still personal information unless you're getting ready to get married to someone and you're talking about finances for the future. That might be the only way you will talk about that. Or if it's your financial planner or banker, that kind of thing, of course you share. But in general, no, we don't want to share that kind of thing. And then how old someone is, I don't mind sharing my age because I think I look younger than I am. And people always think I am younger, at least 10, 15 years younger than I actually am. So I don't mind sharing my age at all. 55. So I am 55 this year and try to take care of myself. So, I don't feel bad about that. I am grateful for every year, every birthday. So blessed to be my age. All right, next we have, when someone asks, how are you? No one is actually expecting you to answer honestly. I agree. Most times when people say, hi, how are you? All they really want back is good. And you, or I'm pretty good. How are you today? Just a general quick interaction. They're not asking you to tell them actually how they really are. Because if you do, they're going to be like, oh, you're really answering? So they might not even have time to wait to listen. So unless you know them well and they're a friend or you see them on a regular basis, then you might want to share a little bit more. But other than that, it's just one word or two. I'm good. How are you? I'm feeling good. So don't expect a long answer when you ask someone how they are. All right. We also have, not finishing your meal at a restaurant is completely normal, and it is okay to ask for a to-go box. It depends on the setting. Now, here in the United States, if you don't want to finish it, you're full, you can take it with you. You've paid for it. You might save half for lunch tomorrow. And sometimes it's better the next day than it is the day that you're eating it. So I don't see any problem with that. In more formal settings, it is frowned upon to take a to-go box or doggy bag with you. It's okay. But I have doggies at home that love leftovers, so I normally take mine with me. So it depends on the person, depends on the setting, but I think it's okay to take. And the last one, you should always tip, even if you thought the service was bad. I agree with that as well. Tipping, usually 15 to 20%, but nowadays, we don't have enough people working. So when I see 2 people working when it should be 5 or 6 in a restaurant, and they're doing everything with a smile on their face, I tend to tip a little bit more, 25, 30%, because I know they're working hard and they're doing